Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm playing a big one. I'm playing the final version of Kingdoms Forlorn that I previewed, 3 or more years ago, and disclaimer that I got a review copy of this one. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our weekly podcast for reviews or design discussions, or join the conversation and say hi on our Discord. So if you didn't see my original coverage, this is from the team that did Aeon Trespass Odyssey. Loved that one, and I definitely enjoyed my early plays of this. We actually had our first play in the real version last night, so I had one of my characters leveling up with two other characters controlled by Peter and his son. But now I'm going to play solo, controlling two characters, two-handing, while also controlling two of these squire characters, like Rayloff, the Eager Squire here, which are little simplified characters that can still sort of level up in a group way. And at the beginning of each expedition, that's what it's called when you go into one of these cities in this horrifying kind of apocalyptic fantasy land, you pick one of your people to be the questing knight. Here I'm going to have Paracelsa, who's my new character, being the questing knight. The character I used last night, Ren Holders, is going to go on what's called an investigation. And this is a game where the campaigns are character-based, so here's Paracelsa, or Celsa. Here's her character sheet. And you'll see going down the right side here that it's her tale. I've already read the prologue, although I'll read it to you briefly. And you go through mob tier, vassal tier, king tier, devil tier, dragon tier. This is all fail forward. You have to do one quest and 3 out of 5 investigations in each tier. And then you move on to the next tier, whether you were successful or not in the investigations. And that will take you through your knight tale, this nice thick booklet here with all the quests and special things you'll be doing. So again, we're going to be having Paracelsa be the main questing knight here. So her story will be the main one that we'll be reading from. Then my other character, Ren Holder, he's just going on what's called an investigation. He failed the first one he tried last night, so we're going to go for a second one, which does mean like the monsters might level up, so it's maybe a bad idea. I could just have him do a free roam where he tries to redo the investigation he failed, and he has not tried his main quest yet. Last night we were doing a main quest with one of Peter's characters, and I accidentally took a bite out of this apparently. But yeah, because he had a quest last night, he actually has some money. He, we'll see this in a second, but he upgraded his short bow to a crude bow. He also got some shoes and a regional map. Both are going to give him some more mobility in combat. The squires also level up, so this little metal deck is used to metal like the strength of their metal, not metal like heavy metal, although that'd be cool too. So this deck is used to resolve all of their tests and attacks and defenses and such, and I've added 3 new cards to that. They always replace on a 1-for-1 basis, so that is already a stronger deck, and every squire shares that, so even if I use new squires or fewer or more squires in a future game, they would have the same leveled up metal deck. And we're going to be exploring one of the 2 Forlorn Kingdoms that the title refers to. In this case, the Principality of Stone, which is also the one that I did in my preview. This one is a place where people have been turned to stone by some kind of curse or illness or infection. So we have this big exploration miniature, nice miniatures in this game. And the quest, as you'll see in a second, I'm going to read all the narrative, is going to have us starting on the All-Father's Church. And we're going to be trying to hunt down some cultists in some tiles that we sort of know the location of. And with that, we can jump into some narrative reading, and then we're going to have the exploration. And this, by the way, is a very long game. Our play last night took 5 hours. So usually I don't do videos broken up into pieces, but this is a big, big game. So my first video is going to be the first exploration. My second video is going to be the first clash, whatever that ends up being. And then we'll see if I need 2 or just 1 video for the second exploration and the second clash, since the rules explanation will be faster. I don't know. But yeah, so this will be a lot of the channel for the next 2 to 3 weeks. But let's see what Paracelsa is doing in her Quester of False Saints story. I'm going to read the prologue first and then the introduction for her first quest. A pious man died today. Blood drips from the grisly display in thick, oozing droplets that spatter onto the dirt below, forming a puddle that has already started to stink. The man, a former priest of the Allfather, has been stripped in a humiliating ritual, then strung up between 2 crossed timbers, lifted feet first into the air to dangle out of arm's reach. And then, once he had been hoisted into position, he was split, sawed in half from groin to navel before the perpetrators had stopped, leaving the wretch bleeding, the gruesome act half done. It's almost a certainty that the half-finished nature of the scene is intentional, to make a mockery of the true moment from the torn book. Paracelsa glares up at the ghoulish rendition of the splitting of the sawed man, her rage boiling beneath her skin. A gauntleted fist clenches tight enough to make the worked steel creak, and it's all the young woman can do not to growl in fury. Her eyes glance down to the puddle beneath the dead priest to see the tool that was used for this blasphemy. Not even a proper replica of the saw itself, but just a farmer's rusted, insufficient hand tool. A hand claps down on her shoulder, and she turns to face the stern features of her superior, the High Quester Nicodemus. "Focus, Paracelsa," he chides. "I know what you're thinking, but we can't let anger cloud our minds. Think and look for clues. We must find who did this." Paracelsa looks beyond the old man, seeing the crowd staring owlishly at the grisly display. Whatever the culprits wanted, the act is already taking root in hearts, spreading a message that the church may not be as untouchable as once thought. The blessed word is threatened. A wave of anxious, determined energy rises in the young quester's heart. She must root out these blasphemers, these sinners, wherever they are lurking. It is her divine duty. Her eyes lift from the crime scene into the churning wall of gray that lurks past the village's edge, the deep fog. If there was one place a heretic could hide with near complete impunity, it would be the lawless realms of the kingdoms forlorn. That's the first place she'll start looking. Okay, so that was the prologue, and I could, again, do an investigation, or this. Again, you'll usually only do 3 investigations per chapter. But here we're going to do her first quest, On the Hunt, where we'll venture into the Principality of Stone, and it says, "Beware of the undead, vassals, and blood." Well, that's lovely. On the Hunt. You are summoned to the chapel within the Frogwatch Fortress grounds, wherein you find Nicodemus leaning on the heavy oaken table, brow furrowed as he scans the maps laid out before him. Your eyes briefly flicker to them and back to your old mentor, waiting patiently for him to acknowledge your presence. His weathered, wise eyes lift to you and he smiles. "Glad you could finally make it," he jibes. "You have a lead?" You ignore his attempt at humor. He merely sighs and shakes his head. "The Principality of Stone," Nicodemus announces, gesturing to the map. "King Edelhart has reached out to us for aid in dealing with a heretic problem hiding out in his dust bowl of a kingdom." "I thought Eisenwald was abandoned." Your brow furrows. "When the stone curse took the realm, all the people fled?" "Not all. There are many who are too stubborn for their own good." The old quester grunts bitterly. "And still more who come flocking at the first whiff of opportunity. The Board of Dukes and Duchesses have sent countless into the fog to try and colonize the places left empty." You nod, turning your gaze to the map. Eisenwald, the Principality of Stone. You're hard-pressed to think of a better hiding spot for a cult than the Forlorn realm. Okay, so it says we prepare an expedition, and we're going to start on large tile 2. I've already got that set up. And then we get to go to the outpost phase. And this is in the Principality of Stone's booklet. Each of the 2 kingdoms has their own book, so we're at the half-ruined keep outpost. And we can go to places and spend money. The only place that doesn't take money is the inn. We can visit each of these once, I think, on BGG. You'll see there's like a lot of rules that aren't as clear as they could be. On BGG, that seems to be the consensus. So if you go to the inn, you would roll a d10 and get a bonus. But I'm actually going to get the early bird bonus. It says instead of rolling for an effect, you may choose an effect. And you only get an early bird bonus for the first place you go to. And after my last foray into the Stone Kingdom, which was very frustrating at times, I'm going to do number 7. I'm going to start with a stone key, which can unlock these panzer gates that can just like randomly get in your way. So that's what I'll be taking. Although another popular one would be number 5, where I would start with some gold, because right now Paracelsa is broke. You start out with 0 when you first begin, but she's got some decent stuff, and the squires will be fine on their own. So here we go, 1 stone key. So let me unlock a single panzer gate once, and then it's gone, so it's not going to help that much. Now, additionally, my character, if it does have gold, is going to go to the merchant's workshop. I'm not getting the early bird bonus, but I can buy gear, can upgrade it. And that's the one thing I wanted to do. Renholder, my character, starts with a short bow, and then everyone has these basic knives that are weaker. It's not that great, so you can, at the merchant, pay the cost on the opposite side. So all merchant cards are double-sided, whereas like cards you get from killing monsters and stuff are not. So I will flip this to its short bow side, which has a better accuracy, which rolls slightly better power dice. Red are weaker than black. And everything else on the card is identical. So cool. That leaves Renholder with 2 money left, which would be enough to potentially hire a scout or something, but I don't want to. I just want to go and see what we can do. You then we read number 1. The staggeringly tall interior of the Allfather's Church of Eisenwald, the Eisenkirche, a building rivaled only by the monolithic Conqueror's Castle itself, stretches far above you, the vaulted ceiling folding together into a distant peak. On that ceiling, many murals of scenes from the torn book have been painted in vibrant colors that are now faded, crumbling. The years since the fall of the deep fog have not been kind. You turn your gaze back down to earth, to the nave of the massive cathedral where the last congregation of the Church of Eisenwald is still gathered to this day. A crowd of supplicants froze in a blink of an eye, the petrification curse having taken them mid-sermon. A grim fate for so many faithful. The curse comes for all. Now, you'll see this a lot in the game. It says if somebody's in our party, then we get to read a little special passage about them having a relationship together, which sometimes builds rapport, where you get like bonuses if you kind of become friendly enough and journey with the same people enough. Stoneface is from the expansion, which they did send me, but I have not opened yet, so that's not going to happen. Nicodemus has led a small number of your fellow questers here, as good a place as any to make the base of your operations in the Principality. Now you only need to wait for the king's delegation to... Right on time, the heavy oaken doors of the church clatter open and Nicodemus enters, followed by a most unusual figure. The king's emissary is a figure clad in what might once have been a jester's clothing, bright tunic and velvet pantaloons. Atop their head, the cap and bells, although the tiny brass fixtures make no sound, eerie in their silence. The emissary looks to you, their face hidden behind a white porcelain mask. There's something off about how they move, jerky, unbalanced, as if each limb must be moved consciously. Now here it says if Carr is in your party, which was the quest character that we did last night, and has 5 marked, which he doesn't, I can tell you, but that's something you would like mark by having your own quests and investigations. We would read another thing, but nope. Saints, blessings be upon you. The emissary manages a juddering bow before swinging back upright. His Highness King Elder Hart is always pleased to welcome delegates from the church into his humble kingdom. Nicodemus flashes you a sharp, cautioning glare. Normally you don't care for courtly etiquette, but your mentors raised you to show respect when warranted. First impressions are everything. Okay, so I have a choice here. I can be not so nice to the guy or be nice. I'll pick the second option. You are the face of the faith in this accursed land. With the local civil, they will apply to all who come after. You'll be wise to act with humility and piety rather than bring reproach on the faith in the All-Father's name. Address the emissary with more respect as a preacher would. Raise your heat limit by 1 and go to 0003. So there are a few stats on here. If you've played Aeon Trespass Odyssey, they're very similar. Each character has their passion track, which is going to unlock better and better bonuses each time that they attack, whether they hit or not. This is their, virtue maybe? I don't know, it's health, basically. If this goes down farther and farther, you have a higher chance of drawing nastier cards when you get hit and eventually dying. The black cube is a max, which is currently based, let me show this, on our peril arc. So this is one of the many, many, many things that you can level up as you do your quests and investigations. But right now, Parachelsa's 11 is her uninjured level. So she starts on 11 and that's on 12. And then finally, the thing that was just mentioned, heat. This you use to get rerolls on dice and to power your abilities. You get to lower it by a certain amount every round. Parachelsa only lowers hers by 2 each round. And the black cube is a heat limit, which also comes from your peril arc. You'll see based on your injury level, that's your max. So the more injured you get, the more heat you can hold. But here, for temporarily, she is going to have a 4 heat limit. The pleasure is all ours. You bow your head, folding your hands in a prayerful gesture. May the sod man's kindness preserve thee. Behind the emissary, Nicodemus nods in approval. The emissary tilts their head curiously, a sound somewhere between a sigh and a huff escaping from behind the mask. You sound just like all the other missionaries the church keeps sending. I thought the questers were supposed to be brash, rude, utter blowhards. They chuckle, turning to walk past you before you can respond. You meet the older quester's eye, but he can only shrug. You decide it'd be best to just follow the odd figure, see what you can learn. Okay, so we get a little bonus here. The first time you would gain threat, that's Fiscal, during the expedition, reduce it by 1, which is going to help us stay a little bit less noticed. We go to 4. I know of the cultist you seek. The emissary moves between the statues infesting the cathedral, their strange stop-start gait surprisingly swift. They've been acting within the Principality for some time now. Our people's numbers are already dangerously thin, so few willing to remain and brave the Principality's recent troubles. Now this group is either recruiting the few loyal citizens we have left, or snatching them off the street in the dead of night for devils know what purpose. Why hasn't the king taken steps to eradicate them, you ask? A simple request to his holiness, you would have a score of more papal knights at your disposal. Ha-ha! The faint, lilting laughter escaping from the emissary's mask has an odd, sing-song quality to it. The king has more important things to deal with than a little sect. We're forced to be ever vigilant against the schemes of the other kings, making sure the walls of steel we build around our nation remain strong. A few insects crawling around inside are of little concern. Now, if you find the lair of these parasites, we'd be more than happy to dedicate our stonemason knights to... You don't spot them, hiding amongst the statues. They've covered themselves in a thin layer of the gray dust that covers every surface of the church. They leap and strike with frightening speed, one dagger plunging into the emissary's chest, another into their gut. Your weapon leaps to your hand, but the attackers are already running, splitting apart to head for separate exits. You hesitate for just a moment, long enough to see the emissary's body begin to twitch, then break apart into dozens of pieces, scraps of fabric ripping to reveal nothing beneath. The tattered fragments of silk and velvet scurry across the cold flagstones, skittering like insects, until all that is left behind is the bone-white mask. Nicodemus looks down at the remnants of the king's emissary, then back to you before he starts barking orders. The other questers come running, quick to obey. Seal the exits, sweep the halls for any others, smash every statue if you have to make sure they're what they appear. He looks to you and gives the command. Go after these cultists, Paracelsa. Find them and find out what they know. Do the All-Father's work, child. Saint's fortune be with you. Okay, now we have our objective. Hunt down the cultists before they can go to ground. So they're going to be on small tile 11 and 14, which I have set up, and they are represented by Bane tokens, which are purple. And at the beginning of each delve round, I'm going to draw a random minor mortis card, which I use to randomize a lot of things because they have directions on them. And they're all going to try to move in that direction if they can. And that's going to potentially help me triangulate where the heck they are. And if we move on to them a first time, we'll get some free zeal, which is a special token for Paracelsa. And yeah, we'll get to do some things. If time goes to 8, because each time we move, the time token is going to advance 1. If time goes to 8 before we've tracked them down, then we're probably just going to fight anyway. That's what tends to happen in these. So yeah, here are the small tiles that they are on. And tiles will have different things, so they'll show which district of the city they're in, which is going to help me kind of track them down. Right now I'm in this Hammer district, and so are these cultists, so they're probably going to be easier to find. In the Principality of Stone, some places are going to have these locks. That means that they are Panzer Gate locked, which means you need keys, and the cultists can't move through Panzer Gate, so the south is blocked to them. These things here with sort of like a C symbol is a point of interest. All this stuff only applies when you first move on to something and explore it, by the way. Spaces like this are deep fog, so that means that you can basically teleport. If you survive, you can get lost in the fog by going. The cultists can't go through there, obviously. And then the numbers with a little shape shows what kind of tile it is. So this is small tile 10 with only one little thing. This one has all of the sides with little things. So that's extra large. 2 of them are medium. And what I'm currently on is a large card, which would have 3 of the little, I don't know, what do you call them? 3 little pokey bits. And the other cultists can go west or east, and they're in the Merchant District. So, yep, I don't know how to get there right now, because you can see that we are in the, what is the hammer? The Craftsman District, and every tile next to us is also the Craftsman's District. So we're going to have to kind of wander around until we can maybe find these dudes, and until we can track down where the Merchant District begins. Now, there are some more things to set up for the kingdom. So we put the Principality of Stone sheet here. There's also a Sunken Kingdom side. We start our time on 0. Again, if we get to 8, we're going to fight our first clash. And if we get to 16, we're going to fight our second one. So we want to try to complete our quest before that. This is our threat, which is eventually going to make like encounters come out and move around towards us. And a lot of things check that for nastier effects. If this goes past 9, we lose. And this is our curse. Also starts on 0. If this goes past 4, we lose. I also have a deck of exploration cards for the Principality of Stone and the Minor Mortis cards for randomization. And if we do decide to go to the fog, I've got the Deep Fog cards here. But I have to determine what monsters are lurking in each area. And how I do that is I take this little monster list for our current kingdom, sorry. It's kind of hard to show on camera. And then I hold up Paracelsa's thing, and I see the lowest thing that she's marked. She's just on her quest right now. So it's just the most basic things. We can get rat wolves, pale bloodworms, a pumpkinhead monstrosity, Ironcast Dead, and Ignites. I'm going to shuffle those 5 cards, draw 4 at random, and those will fill in our 4 spots. So here we go. For our district, we are getting the pale bloodworms. So we put their token right there. Although they will often rotate and change who's where. Next, in the wharfs, which I don't expect to go to, we've got the Ironcast Dead. In the Merchant District, I've got Pumpkinhead Monstrosities. And finally, in the Noble District, I've got Rat Wolves, although again, I don't expect to go there. All right, and now I'm actually ready to go. But wait, Renholder has to decide which investigation he's going on. Now, this is just a single paragraph. It's very quick. There's no special rules. He failed investigation, Will of the Word, yesterday. So now I'm going to try a hat full of sky. A chill skitters down your spine as you pick through the upper room of the inn, rifling through the scattered belongings left behind by someone departing in haste. At first, you'd felt a spark of excitement upon hearing that a fellow mage had passed through the outpost, hoping that maybe you'd find an equal in the arcane arts to speak with. It would certainly make a refreshing change from the mundane-minded farmhands you usually encounter out here in the shadow of the deep fog. But when you learned of this magician's sudden and rushed departure, your excitement and curiosity had begun to descend into suspicion and paranoia. Now, as you regard the tomes discarded on the bed, you feel your worries solidify. Validated. One is bound in dark, almost black leather. Upon its cover, a disc of gold bearing a grinning face. A mirror of one of the cards from the Fool's Tarot. This is the Studia Maledicta, a treatise on curses, banes, and hexes. The College of Kroos has been thorough in their stamping out of such tomes. To find one here, only a mage operating outside of the college's purview could gain access to such a book, and there's only one library in the world that would still have intact copies of such forbidden knowledge. You're dealing with a scholomancer here. You need to find where they scurried off to. But that's it. It doesn't really matter very much because you're always doing the exact same thing. What happens is you get a clue card. So here I need 3 yellow clues to win. And then each clue card has a question mark and then pointing to the right. And the squires also get clue cards. Paracelsa does not, importantly, because she's just doing her own thing. So we look to the character to the right, and we're just kind of going to go sort of circular around the characters how I have them laid out. So they want a blue card. So Renholder needs yellow and blue. And this blue one that's marking what he needs also counts as one of the 3. So he needs 5 more clues. Fabio looks at Rayloff's red, so he needs blue and red. And Rayloff looks around at Renholder's yellow, so he needs red and yellow, which means that in this one, green is useless to us, so we want to try to avoid getting green if we can. This is the unused clue card, because again, Paracelsa doesn't get one. We could also, by the way, give the squires merchant items, which would potentially give them like range attacks if it was a bow. They don't use much of the other stuff on it, though. Like, actually, I just realized Paracelsa's one doesn't give them anything. But some of the merchant gear will have this kind of thing, where they can spend the clues they've gotten for bonuses in combat. They can also do that with their metal cards, as you'll see. But sorry, that was a lot of lead-in. Hey, let's actually play the game, Mike. But yes, let's get into traveling, and I'll explain how the basics work for this. So in one delve round, first you travel to an adjacent space where you can backtrack farther. Then you resolve all the stuff on your kingdom tile. Then you draw the top exploration card. And then if you have any story stuff to read, you read the next story. So I have to decide which way to go, and each of the things backs shows me things. When you go onto small tiles like this, you actually lose threat, which is nice because it's not building up. It always takes 1 time to move to anything. The green thing is the deep fog difficulty. If you move through a deep fog side of a tile, then if you eventually come out of the deep fog, because again, you can get trapped in there forever. Well, not forever, but you lose the mission immediately. Then you can teleport to any unexplored thing that you've been adjacent to. So normally I would go west here because this one actually gets you a clue. This is the last type of icon. Medium ones get you 1 clue, large ones get you 2 clues, and extra large, which are very hard to get to, get you 3. But which clue you get is based on the current back of the exploration deck. West gets me a green, north gets me a blue, etc. Green, remember, is the only color I don't want, and that's what I would get if I went to the west right now, so not much point. But also, note that this place that one of the cultists is hiding in within the Craftsman's District has nothing to the east, which makes me think that it's probably going to be like over here, right? It's going to be to the east, like maybe the eastern edge of the map. Now, by the way, you'll see that the Allfather's Church says signs of struggle with a point of interest. You don't resolve any of that stuff when you start on a location, only when you explore into it. So we're not going to get that. But yeah, so with my reasoning, I think I'm going to move on to tile 6. So first you resolve all the icons on the back, which here is 1 time, -1 threat, but I don't have any. And again, the fog doesn't matter. So we just get 1 time. Then we flip it over and we resolve anything that is showing on it, which in this case is nothing. We could have, here, I can show you where the cultists are. We could have this little thing that would let us read special passages based on our character to tell us what we see there. We could have, again, the points of interest with the little C icon, but no such luck. Now, what did we get? We can go north to a small 4. We can go east to the fog. Great, we've already hit the fog. And finally, this one is a shortcut, which normally you cannot move along. But Renholder's regional map, one of his specialties, says you can exhaust it. So you can only do this once per half of the mission because you unexhaust everything when you get into combat. To, during the delve, move through shortcuts. But this is small tile 11, and it's next to 10 and extra large tile 2. So I don't see any special reason to move to medium tile 11 here. We just still put out the new tiles to show what could be coming. And we resolve the exploration card, which you'll note always happens in a round, which means you'll have a new card on top of the deck for new clue opportunities. Fog Trespass. Place a deep fog token on a random path leading from your current kingdom tile. Well, that's that's annoying. So whenever you need to find a random direction during your adventuring, you flip the top Minor Mortis card, and here it is the south path. which is the shortcut. So I guess we're really not going to use that. I guess we're going to go to 4 next turn. Although we could also backtrack. It just costs us time, but sometimes that's what you got to do. Okay, and then if there was any story stuff to resolve, like Paracelsa, like we had reached a cultist or whatever, then we would do that. But no, but we do have to resolve the special effect and flip this card. And the cultists are going to try to go to the east. These cultists in our district cannot. It's a deep fog. But these cultists can go to medium 9, which actually might help us out because we'll see more of the stuff. By the way, these are called generic tokens with a little tree on them. You put them on a bunch of things. They're used for a ton of stuff in the game. But specifically here, they are used to show that that's an unexplored tile. So like if we move to it, we would still resolve it. Ooh, and this is actually interesting. So first of all, I've been here before. So you do kind of get to learn the kingdoms because the maps are not randomized. But also, look, if they head north, they're in the merchants district, which means there's a reasonable chance that if I head back that way, I could find them. But yeah, for now, I think I'm going to keep on trying to hunt down the other cultists. So going into my next travel phase, we're going to head north, costing us 1 time, and again, lowering the threat we don't have, which is great. And oh my gosh, there's just so much deep fog here. I thought I was like, where is the edge and where are they? I kind of want them to travel west just so I can triangulate their location a bit more. All right, so there's nothing here except for a medium going west. And no special icons are resolved, so we just do the exploration. Okay, remove X single Panzergate tokens from any district where X is your curse level, which is currently 0. Then each knight loses X. Again, is that virtue? Let me look it up. Vigor. The V is for vigor. That makes more sense for health. But anyway, if this effect didn't trigger, which it didn't because our curse is currently 0, we go to 1 curse, which is checked by some effects like this one. But also if we go above 4, if we go to 5 or more, then we lose immediately. And this is a gated effect, which means it'll only happen if something else is true. Here it says if our threat is at 7+, it's at 0, y'all. We would draw and resolve another exploration card. And here, just to show you, there's the 1 curse. All right, how about our cultist friends? They're moving south, which these ones can. Oh, and sorry, I shouldn't have put these out. I just realized it doesn't say to put them unless you're actually moving adjacent. But yeah, they're moving down here, which is deeper to the merchant district. Oh, and it's a big stone plaza. Okay. From here, they can move east, not through the Panzergate, but through that one, or south. Actually, you know what? Maybe I haven't been here. No, I definitely have. I don't remember. I feel like I've seen that tree before, maybe not. These dudes cannot move through a big Panzergate like that, so they are still stuck, which again is a bummer for me because I don't know where to go. But hey, here we go. This one's actually good. If we move west to that medium tile we just uncovered, we'll get a blue clue, which I do need, and so does one of the squires. So yep, let's do that. We are gaining 1 threat this time. So except for threat being checked, the big things are these paw icons. If there are encounter tokens, like monsters hunting you, then they'll move when you get onto those. And the big one is when you get to 7, you spawn a encounter hunting you if you haven't already. But for now, we're not doing any of that. And because we went west, we get a blue clue for each person that needs them. So Renholder has 2 out of 3 blue, but no yellow. And Fabio has 1 blue. I care much less about the squires because they only have 1 more metal card to unlock at the mob tier. I really want Renholder to get what he needs, so some yellows eventually would be great. All right, let's see what we've found. Oh, we're getting a point of interest. And then, yeah, as I figured, we can... Oh, it's the top of the church. That's cool. We can go west again. So when you have a point of interest that has a specific thing like Signs of Struggle, you just resolve that one. When it's got a number, you draw the top exploration card and check its modifier. So here 3 + 2 is 5, but you still keep this card ready because it's still going to be the actual exploration flip for this turn. But we have found a splintered card. We get to distribute 4 gold between all the knights. Well, I'll just give it all to Paracelsa because she is a little bit behind Renholder. We can't do much with it at the moment. Even now we have Rat Wolves. Place this card in the active effects area. They can only be 1 of these at a time. Then place a generic token on a random direction, which is going to be west. And it says if you travel in that direction, each knight loses -X vigor, where X is 4 minus the number of tokens on this card. So right now it would be 3. Then discard this. At the start of each delve round, which we're about to have, we will place another token going clockwise. A lot of them work like this, and it will go away either when we move and take the damage or when it's fully surrounded. And yeah, we are indeed going immediately into the next delve round because there's no story stuff. Oh, wait, no, we have to see if these people move. And we get a west move. Oh, good, which means these people will help me figure out where they are. Oh my God, what? Oh, y'all have probably been yelling at me this entire time. Look. That's 10, and that's 10. They showed me where they were. Oh, I feel so dumb. I just wasted some time and got barely anything. All right, that is clear. It doesn't fit like that. Yeah, so hey, here we go. They are very close now. God, what a dummy. And the other cultists cannot move west. All right, well, let's do some backtracking. So how backtracking works is the first move costs you 1 time. Each additional move costs you 1 threat. So here, if I want to go all the way back to the Allfather's Church, I'm going to end up taking 2 threat in one time, which is not ideal. And also because at least one of those travels was west, the rest were south and east, I am going to take 2 vigor damage for each person, but then that goes away, which was perhaps unwise, but so it goes. I'm realizing, can this deep fog even cover a shortcut? I feel like it can't. And actually, this isn't even adjacent, I just realized. So I'm just going to put this card away. But remember, when you move into an explored place, you don't do anything. We don't get any clues for backtracking. So all we're doing is our next event, Light in the Tunnel. Place this card in the active events area. Place the Princess Cassia miniature, on a random path leading from your current kingdom tile. If you follow that path, lose 1 threat. If you choose a different path, discard this card and the miniature. Repeat this process at the start of the exploration phase for the next 2 delve rounds, then discard this card and the miniature. Well, I'm not even going to bother to look for it if she's not going south, which she's not. I'm definitely not going east again, so yeah, we'll forget that option. All right, but I do still need to see if the cultists move. They're trying to go south, which, okay, these guys can't, so I'll definitely reach them. These guys can to 17. Geez, now they're in the Porch District? Are you kidding me? Or maybe I'll just catch the first cultist and then, I don't know. Maybe I'll just try to get Ren Holder some clues for the next one. All right, so we are going to go south. The princess goes away. And we will fight the cultist during the story step. So since this was unexplored, we still have to flip it to the back. So we'll gain 1 time, lose 1 threat. That's good because we were at 3. We're at 5 time already because we were so dumb. So we're definitely not going to catch anybody else. Remember, these are all small places, so we're not getting clues anyway. Oh, and look. 8 is right here, and 9 connects to 8 right there. I don't have enough time unless they start moving towards me, but at least these are big areas that would get me clues, so maybe I'll go to them. All right, but I do get this, Grasp of the Fog. Place this card in the active effects area, and yeah, the princess would have been discarded when we moved in the wrong direction, so she would not be there to stop this. To travel in that direction, enter the deep fog. And discard this card. If you travel in a different direction, place a generic token on that direction. So we got to go a different direction each time. If there are 3 generic tokens on this card, discard it. All right, currently it's dangerous to go north. That's probably the best option I could have had because I don't want to go north. But we'll have to try to vary up where we're going. Oh, you know what? I just realized I was supposed to get -1 threat the first time I did that. So let me lower it to 1. And because I found a cultist, I gain 1 zeal, which is going to boost Paracelsa in different ways. She's basically trying to build it up to 3 for awesome bonuses. And then we do 5. The trail of the cultist is still fresh. You're not sure if this was the one who attacked and killed the emissary or another, but it matters little. They'll spill their secrets one way or another. You turn the corner and find a dead end ahead. The cultist comes up just short of the brick wall and looks about for any way to escape. With nowhere else to go, they turn to face you. You brandish your weapon. By the authority granted to me by the Church of the All-Father, you growl. You are under arrest for the crime of heresy. You will surrender and face judgment at the feet of His Holiness encroached. Do not resist. The cultist, a young woman clad in a simple robe stained with stone-gray dust, sneers at you. That's when you see the long, serrated dagger in her hand. Before you can close the distance, she raised the blade to her throat, plunging into her flesh. A flood of crimson spurts from the severed artery, and she collapses while you watch on, numb with surprise. You fail to understand the fanatical lengths to which they'd go to protect their sect. Suddenly the ground shudders beneath you and pallid, writhing bodies squirm up from under the cobbled street, drawn forth by the spilled blood. The nearest pale blood worm snaps at you viciously and the rest of the swarm turns to face you. Oh, we're going to do an encounter. These are sort of quick mini battles. I'll show you. Proceed to an ambush against the pale blood worms. Once the ambush is resolved, return to the delve. So this is the part that's a little bit chancy. I'm going to move the miniature for a second and put the board on top of this because there's no way to fit it otherwise. We should only need the mob one for this one. We take the Pale Blood Worm card. So basically this is like a 1-round kind of fight, is the easy way to describe it. So normally in one of these encounters, first the enemies spawn and then you spawn and then they try to hit you and then you try to hit them and that's the it. Nice language, Mike. That's the end. But because it was an ambush, we're going to spawn first, and then these nasty little worms are going to come out. So for each of us, we'll just kind of go clockwise. Ren Holder, you roll the die, and you have to place them on a matching spot. So here I've got these 3. Ren Holder has a bow, so he's a ranged fighter, so let's put him in the corner. Okay, then Fabio, one of my melee knights, is on a double sword. You ignore the little bird symbol there. It's called a hope. So Fabio can be more in the middle, I guess. Okay, and then Rayloff, my other squires, on a chalice and sword space. Let's go here, maybe. And then finally, Paracelsa will be on a goblet space. Well, I guess here makes sense. Okay, now I also roll for each of the worms, as we're spawning 2 of them here. And if they get spawned first, they just kind of face to try to get their maximum attacks in range. See, they face forward and attack 2 spaces. But here, because we're already on the board, they try to attack as many squires or as many people as possible. All right, so here, this one has to go here and attack him. That's the only way, looking that way, to actually get an attack off. And the second one, can also not be placed. Oh, and I forgot. In an ambush, when that happens, we have to actually take away knights that are on spots like that. All right, we'll get Paracelsa out of here, because this way this guy still can't attack anybody, so he can't get any way to hit. So that works out well for us. And one of my squires can attack that one. Renholder can attack him with his bow. There's no movement in this phase. All right, so then the monsters immediately activate. And here it just says they lose 1 vigor. So this guy attacks Fabio, and he's down to 7 vigor. Now, for a character, when they suffer vigor, they'll usually have this like little coffin symbol, and then you'll have to draw a injury card, basically. Minor, then major, then grave, and then judicium, which is usually going to kill you. But squires never do that, but also you wouldn't do that in an encounter anyway. They just start potentially dying when they get down to 0. All right, so now we get to try to attack. Now, our squire over here, Rayloff, he can still help in that he can do, what the action called? Anyway, he does an action instead of attacking, because we can go in any order we want, where he adds tokens to the pool based on these icons. And there's an encounter pool, which is separate from the knight pool you'll see in the actual clash. So for each sword, he adds what's called an opening token. This makes it easier to hit. And for each goblet, he adds a break token, which makes it easier to do damage once you hit. Now, I've got the better weapon, and this is a bigger bonus than I'll be giving, so I'll have Fabio go next and actually attack the guy adjacent to him. It needs to be sharing a side, so you can't attack diagonally. And the first thing you have to do is roll to hit, which is usually d10s, but for everything, you're flipping the Squire metal dice. Meddle, and you check the roll here. So it's an 8, that's definitely high. We need a 6+, but each opening token adds +1, so we really needed a 5+, so he definitely hits. And then we draw again, and this time this was a good flip. We check the power result, which this is one of the best. Oh, no wonder it's one of the best. King tier, I added the wrong card, hold on. You know what I just realized? I grabbed the locked cards. I got confused because I saw one that start tier, but this is the one that I removed. These are all like the best ones in the game. Let me grab the correct deck. A good chance this won't go as well. So the 2 hit was a 3. Now they can take heat, and players can do this too. Players take 1 heat per die they want to reroll, but for squires, they just flip a new card. And here, 7. That's actually a hit. All right, now let's try that power draw again. Oh, still a really good one. Still a yellow. So that is 3 power. And the amount of power you need to scratch the monster, which means make progress towards killing them, is here. So we needed a 3 or higher. Now again, the squire could have taken heat to reflip this, which is not the case for hero characters. They tend to not be able to spend heat to reroll power. And additionally, we got this potential. You can spend break tokens on a 1-for-1 basis to change potential into swords, to change it into power. So actually, they got a 4 here. And then the cards also let them discard matching clue tokens if they have them. So Fabio only has blue or red, but if they had yellow, they could have discarded 1 for +1 power. And they can do the same in the 2 hit roll if they have the matching clue to get +1 to their hit roll and be more accurate. That was great. We get 1 scratch, it's called. And with a 1 scratch, we already got a partial success. We get 2, we get a full success. Oh, and very important start, I forgot. Whenever you attack, you raise up your passion, the green track. And then at the end of your full attack and all of that, we're not always at the end. Some of these effects are before, but you get to add all of these bonuses. So here, what the heck is that? Well, that's an interesting one. So usually what happens is all the tokens from the turn that you attacked with go away, and then you leave your new tokens. But Fabio's first icon there, the kind of triangle-ish thing, was a pass, which means we can leave one of the things here. What does Renholder need? My bow's got a +2 to hit already, but also rolls pretty decent dice since it's upgraded. And +2 to hit means I only need a 4+. I can always spend heat to re-roll it, so let's keep the break token. And I think that this guy comes off, so we can't keep attacking the same one, but miniatures don't block line of sight. Oh, dang it, I forgot. The unwieldy keyword means that this bow, while it can shoot 2 to 4 range, can only shoot in a direct line. I can't do diagonal like a lot of ranged weapons can. And I do have a lot of abilities that let me move, including my map has the deploy keyword that lets me reposition at the beginning of battle. But they all say during a clash and there's an encounter. I don't think they apply. So unfortunately, I think we just end up with a potential success, a partial success, which also means I won't get to have a Renholder gain a green, gain a passion from attacking, which would have been great. So 2 random knights suffer Bane 1. Let me refresh one. Great. All right, so we'll just roll dice and have them kind of count. All right, so those will be the places. So low rollers. Oh, are both of the squires. I guess that's kind of good. They each get to refresh one, but squires don't have cards. Oh, I totally forgot to even show you the cards. Anyway, that's it, though. So this just goes away, and we're done the little encounter. They don't generally do a lot. And also, any tokens here go away. They do not count the same as the actual knight tokens we'll get later. Hopefully the map was not destroyed. All right. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Just a little fixing needed. By the way, I just looked, and Bane tokens don't do anything on their own, but some other effects will give you a Bane limit, and then if you go over the Bane limit, then you die immediately. Now, hey, I mentioned cards. Yeah, so... It's all right, I totally didn't talk about this. So technically, you have let me grab my character. You have a hand limit, which is how many cards you can take from your pool at the beginning. Each knight starts with 4. Paracelsus can only starts with 5 cards unlocked, and she can only bring 4. You unlock more as you go on quests and things. And they each have a delve side with a D over here, and they have a clash side with a C over here. So right now we're in the delve. And yeah, they have powers they can be used, and also they add tokens to the knight pool to give you a boost when you get into the fight. So let's talk through these real quick. There's the cost to use it, which would be +2 heat. When you're about to gain at least +2 threat, lower that gain by 1. Hey, that would have been great to remember when I did that backtrack that gave us a lot of threat. And then sustain me through my trials. Place this card in your play area. Whenever you resolve a point of interest, place a token on this, and then we heal automatically at the beginning of battle. That would cost 2 heat, so I don't know. Blessed Insight. During the travel step, look at the top exploration card and you may place it on the bottom. And that's pretty awesome. And all of these will go to different areas. So the most common one is that. That means that it goes to your cooldown area. At the beginning of each round of combat, you can, like in the actual clash, you can bring those back to your hand up to your character's limit, which I think is 1 for all the starting knights. We can pull 1 card from cooldown back to our hand. But that's only once we're in a clash. These will sit out for the rest of the delve. The ZZZ sleeping one means it goes to delay, which will take generally 2 rounds to get back. And same for that. Okay. Oh, and the last one for her, Knight Prowess, lets me add a bonus to an adventure roll, which we haven't seen yet, but each of our characters has their own traits that are good, and it's just a D10 roll. Okay, how about Prismatic Focus? This is for Renholder. So to gain 1 threat, I can add a magic and a cantrip to the Knight pool to basically make the next fight easier. Light Our Way needs a magic token to spend, so I guess Prismatic Focus will let us do that. Magic is Renholder's special token, kind of like Paracelsus has Zeal. Before the travel step, reveal a connected kingdom tile and mark it with a generic token as unexplored. Then reveal a random medium kingdom tile and place a chosen clue on it. When you explore that tile, gain that clue. Oh, what? Why am I not doing these things? Okay, and then he's got Divine the Heavens, which helps when you're going on Deep Fog. He's got Purifying Ritual, which removes Curse when you're resting, but that's after a fight. And he's got Night Prowess, which also gives a bonus to rolls. So yeah, I don't know about Light Our Way. I'm about to run out of time, so I don't think I want to use it. But I'm about to move west, which will get us a red clue, which is one of the ones Renholder doesn't need. So you know what? I am going to use her check the exploration card thing before we travel, so she takes 1 heat. That's her first, and you also get heat back, as I said at the beginning of each combat round. So I look at the top exploration card and I can put it on the bottom. And this king thing means when you've leveled up a ton, when you're at higher tiers, you'll get better versions of all these effects. This is going to cooldown, so she'll get it at the beginning of combat, but she's not going to be able to use it again. All right, and let's see. Violent Tremors. Gain a stone key. Place this card in your district area. At the start of the travel step, gain 1 threat or random knight loses 1 health. And that's as long as we're in the Hammer district, which we won't be for too long. But again, I don't want this clue, so now let's get rid of it. Ooh, and this is much better. We're about to go west, and that's a yellow clue, so great. Although maybe the exploration card will be terrible. So yeah, let's travel west here. Again, I don't think we'll actually catch the cultists, but I didn't move them. So we got a chance. If they go north, they're going east. Yeah, they're gone. They're going on to medium 13. Oh, geez, I just realized I'm going to have to connect all of these, and it's so north-south crazy. But hey, at least we'll know a lot of areas after our big battle. Okay, but yes, now traveling, going west. So we gain a time, a threat, and we get a clue. Oh, and we're going to get a point of interest and a passage. Cool. Yeah, to show where things currently stand. We are almost out of time. Oh, and we move west, which means now west would send us into the fog, but we're about to move south, so that will not be a problem. All right, and that was a yellow clue for Renholder and a yellow for Rayloff. And then let's see what the point of interest is. 1 + 1, 2. Overlooked alleyway. Oh, every knight gains a chosen clue? Oh, man. All right, so we'll definitely do that. So now we only need 1 of each. And then, I don't know, they can get a red. Rayloff doesn't have any yet, so he can definitely get a red. Well, that was awesome. And now 40 ... So each of my characters has their own second half of that cipher. I just wrote them down here. Paracelsus is a 7 and Renholder is a 13. And if we go into the Principality of Stone, we'll get to kind of see what they're observing in this area. And sometimes they get bonuses or penalties. Right, here's Paracelsus 4007. By the way, sometimes your cipher half will change based on your current quest, so you might see different things. The snow shifts in thick drifts, choking the streets leading to and from the towering silhouette of the All-Father's Church. To one side, a squat tower overlooks the courtyard of the massive structure, one of the few remaining intact buildings here. As you approach, you notice a trail in the sand, footprints, unshod. In the deepest part of the impressions, crimson gleams. Your pulse quickens just a touch, all the old tales flooding back into your mind. She of the bloodied feet, the font of faith. A cautioning voice in the back of your mind warns you not to get carried away, but you follow the trail nonetheless. The footprints lead you to a small door in the tower's side, within which you find a small vestry. Against the far wall, a tapestry hangs showing a familiar scene, the First Crusade in which the masked saints ventured forth to face the devils of the time of many idols. The bloody footprints come to a halt before the tapestry, then vanish, a few crimson droplets staining the fabric. It's as if the saint walks straight into the woven image. Oh, what the devote to Saint Linda. Okay. Give me a second to find what that is. I've only devoted once so far. Well, first let's read round holders because I can see that it does nothing. Clambering to the top of the staircase within the small tower, you find an office overlooking the courtyard before the All-Father's Church. You turn over some of the faded and crumpling parchments, scanning the writings. Not much there of interest. Mostly missives about the comings and goings of the church before the arrival of the stone curse. Requests for new quills and parchment. A note of an upcoming tithe. Worthless information for you. You're not sure what you were expecting from a priest's ledger. It's hardly a wizard's tome or an arcane library. Nothing here. Okay. I had to read all of that. So I've devoted to Saint Linda, which means I get her card and I get one devotion token. The more devotions I get, the cooler effects I have. What sacrifice? That doesn't sound too cool. But I have a commandment. If I break this once, so basically during the expedition, I have like a token on her or my miniature. If I break it once, I take it off. If I break it again in a given expedition, then I'm no longer devoted to her. So here I can't re-roll my crit dice. That's terrible. In every roll you do, like attacks and such, you roll one white crit die. And if it gets a 10, then it's a crit. But not being able to re-roll it is not nice. But I just looked, and sacrifice means I can take damage when I'm about to attack to add one break token and be able to hurt them a little better. Now, the big thing is if you die, you get a chance to incarnate. Basically, you don't die, and you get a big bonus for the next round, and you get to immediately move and attack because the saint has filled your body with her holy light or whatever. So that's cool. All right, fun times. Not so fun. I got to move the map. Here we go. All right, hey, there we go. And let's see if our friends head toward us. West. Yep. Oh, crud. I just saw this was on top of the deck. I had flipped this for the point of interest, haven't I? This was supposed to be my encounter. Well, okay. Oh, no, wait, I haven't cheated yet. I just haven't drawn the encounter yet. I was doing the things. We still haven't finished the turn. All right, Haunting of the Armored City. Spawn an encounter on the closest POI within your current district. If an encounter couldn't be spawned, spawn in an adjacent kingdom tile instead. Now, I'm going to assume they don't mean just on my space, because that seems dumb. Although, hey, this game, sometimes they mean it might. So here I can put on Sign of Struggle or that. Doesn't really matter much. I check my current district. Oh, and it's those same guys. The worms. There's 2 of each token. And I put it in the indicated spot. And now remember those paw prints. Whenever I gain threat and move onto a space with the paw, they move that much. Oh, actually, it's if you lose or gain threat onto those spaces. That's worse than I thought. All right, well, whatever. The quest has probably failed, but let's keep going. So we're going to head over the bridge into the Merchants District, which means we got to flip this. Okay, and we're doing 1 time, 1 threat, which will move the guy in 1 clue. So our next time will be our last. The guy's moving 1 toward us, obviously. And the clue, good, this is one of the ones I still need. So that's blue. So that means I only need 1 yellow. And Fabio is doing good, too. This is much more successful with clues than we were last time. All right, and then, so we're doing another passage and another random thing. So we flip the encounter. 1 plus 0 is just 1. Oh, a chosen knight devotes. 2 doesn't get her anything yet, but sure, there we go. When she gets 3, she can, so this lady's just all about hurting herself. That's not great, but that's okay. Because if you get 5 of these, when you would die, you automatically incarnate instead of having to roll a 10 out of 10 on a d10. And then we also got to read some more, 47. Although, yeah, I have read these before, so I'll just skim. Well, at least for Renholder. He finds a tree with a void in it and an eye, so it's not really a tree. And he gets to raise his magic limit by 1 as he avoids it. But she actually gets something. The wind slithers through the branches of the gnarled, black-barked tree in an odd way, creating a strange, resonant note that feels as though it's vibrating through the ground under your feet. There's something disquieting about it, like an itch in the back of your skull. As you approach the tree, you see the fragments of the old square it erupted through, the disk of gray stone that was once the heart of a bustling market. There were carvings around its circumference, some in old Antiochian, others are far older. Suppressing a shudder, you urge your companions to pick up the pace and move on from here. And I won't show this one to you because it's a spoiler, but they told us what one of these symbols means in a number. And then you'll see some things in the game, like my regional map, that have like those same symbols. So you get, I'm assuming, a 4-digit code to look at when you have the right thing. But yeah, again, if it's going to bother anybody, I won't use it here. And I realized actually with one Ren holder found, that actually gives me 2 out of 4 for the map. So I could get something secret. Because it's supposed to be like secrets in the kingdoms themselves and not just in the quest. So there is like kind of some story to resolve and figure out. Speaking of resolving, I did move south. That is the 3rd. So this Grasp of the Fog is gone. But what's not gone is this Panzer Pit. Place a single Panzergate token on every unlocked path leading from your current tile except the path you came from. See, this is where I like having keys. So boop. And boop. Great. All right, and now the only way I could catch the cultists is if they move north, which seems unlikely. Now they're going south. Because I can't fast travel through unexplored. Oh, they can't go south. Well, I still can't reach them because I can move here next turn and they won't move on to me. That's a bummer. So I'm going to like fail the first part of my quest to an extent, but that doesn't always matter. I think I'll still, well, do I want to go south? South gets me blue, which I don't need, but extra clues become those leads that let you like auto-complete a quest that you failed before, so that's not a terrible thing. I mean, really, the worst part about going down into the Stone Plaza is that I'm going to get a ton of threat. But I don't think I want to use my only key to go like into some random little alleyway. So sure, let's clink, unlock that thing. And then we're traveling through to a biggin. Oh man, so we get 2 clues. I'll show you how the second clue works in a second. But 2 threat and 1 time. But hold on, we've got that card I never used. There we go. So for 2 heat, that brings Paracelsus up to 3 out of 4 max with her little bonus. We only gain 1 threat instead of 2. But that one's going to be sleeping, so it'll take longer to come back in the delve. And that does still have the guy hunting us move 2. And we're at our max. Although when the guy catches us, all that happens is the exact same thing that happened before, so it's not that big a deal. We just fight another little battle with him. Now, the first clue I get is blue, but then for the second and any extra ones beyond that, you look, and it's the north arrow from a minor mortis card, which means, green's one nobody wants, right? Yep, so we get a blue and nothing. All right, and then we've got a 3 point of interest. Dang, now I wish I had done my sustain me through my trials, although I guess she wouldn't have had enough heat for other stuff. She could have healed a bunch from all these points of interest. All right, 4 plus 3 is a 7. Ooh, gain a stone key right back. Nice. Although note that this humongoid tile to the east here has a triple Panzer gate, so we'd need 3 keys to go through there. Although it does now count as a place for me to go to if I travel through the deep fog. So sometimes that's the best way to get to those kind of places. All right, I didn't look at this. Panzergeist Possession. Place this in the active effects area. Place a generic token on a random direction. If you don't travel in a direction with a token, each knight gains +1 heat. And then it goes clockwise around. Okay, that's not too bad. And we don't have 8 threat yet. That's going to start out east. And I guess we'll see if the cultists move again. They would have come north. Why didn't I draw this card before? But sadly, it is too late. All right, so if my time is 8 and I didn't remove all Bane tokens, go to 7. Gone. You kick at the dust-strewn cobblestones in fury, achieving nothing but an aching toe. Somehow the cultists have stayed ahead of you as the sun begins to set. You have nothing to show for your struggles. They got away. You turn, or you order your troop to turn back. Perhaps you can make it to the Eisenkirch again before dark. The air fills with a threatening growl, and you spy motion in the growing gloom. Something shifts, eyeing you with menace. Your hand creeps toward your weapon, and you bark a warning to the others before battle is upon you. Okay, we get our exhibition clash. If we win, we go to 10. If not, we go to 11. So it is the first of those 2 battles that I mentioned. It is like where the entire different, more like Aeon Trespass part of the game begins. And the clash we're fighting is based on a current district. Which means, it's going to be one I haven't done before. Pumpkinhead Monstrosities. Okay. So we'll stop there before we get into our first clash against the Pumpkinheads. I'll have another video this week to show that part of the game off. And then next week will be the completion of this quest. Well, assuming the Pumpkinheads don't kill us. But thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, J. William F., Steve Wren, Pedro Lucas, Miles, Wayne Scott, KCW, and Andrew R. We'll see you at the next stop.